All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. I want to do something special to give back to everybody in the form of giving my perspective on some of these videos I've posted here on my time on TikTok. I'm at 20K followers, and that's due to you guys sharing and actually being interested in the mystery within reality. Now, I started this account to basically start posting some of the things that I've saved over the years, over YouTube and these other video sources, of what kind of convinces me that something else is happening all across the world. That there's a phenomenon going on where people are seeing creatures that kind of look like us. And it's happened for a while. And if you dig into the history behind it, you might just be surprised that reality isn't all what you think it is. Or at least so I think. So anyway, I want to give back with giving my perspective. And we're going to start with the very first video that I posted, titled, "How Big Was This Thing?"
What's the last GPS?
Our last GPS was, I think, 4.6 is what I
So we're 4.6 from the truck, and that's the closest road. I'm coming down here, I'm beat, get my gear off, get ready to eat. All of a sudden, Eric's like, oh my gosh, big bear, big bear. I grab my bow, I raise up, I look down the hill, and it is the freaking tallest bear walking on two legs I've ever seen in my life. But the moment I realize, I'm like, I turn to get Eric to turn on the camera. He's already filming at that point.
Yeah, I didn't get pushed on play until...
But when did you realize it wasn't a bear?
Well, when I realized it wasn't a bear, when we were sitting here and with the foliage and everything, the undergrowth here, it looked like a bear because all I seen was the brown coming through. But then as I got the camera and stood up and you grabbed your bow, when it stopped right there at that pine, right next to us, it stared at us, which seemed like 5 minutes.
Yeah, it was staring back for a long time. At that point, I knew it wasn't a bear.
All right. Now, if you're watching this, you can see just how freaking big this thing is. That's a guy in a suit maneuvering through the woods. Let's use Occam's razor. What's easier? A guy walking through the suit in a 10-foot plus bulky suit that somehow towers over even some of the trees? I don't know. You guys be the judge of that, but I can't explain that. We're going to watch it again.
Give me the camera. Oh.
Right there, you can tell the dude fell. He decided to chase after this thing. All right, let's say it's a guy in the suit. He wanted to chase after it, right? He fell. So I believe that this actually happened. You know, I mean, if it's faked, they did a real good job at it.
Eric, get out, get my bow, get out. Eric, come here.
Yeah, they're not playing. You can hear the emotion in their voice. They're not playing. They saw something that they think is actually physically there. All right, we're not gonna play games with this, ladies and gentlemen. I think this is real good proof. I mean, there can be some naysayers, so what? I'm not trying to convince them. I'm just trying to get you to critically think about the situation. Could there be something that modern science hasn't caught up to or refuses to catch up to, like the UFOs? Could there just be other things here already? I think this is good proof. I don't know. You be the judge. All right. Now, the second video is kind of grainy. I'm not going to lie. These are videos that have kind of been taken from country folk out in the woods, man. You know, not everybody's high tech out there. It's about survival. It's about living off the land. It's about privacy for a lot of people. Not everybody has $1 million tucked away. And besides, this video is a little older as well. It's at least 10 years old. But this, even though it's grainy, is evidence of what I call a true giant. what MK Davis would call a true giant. And if you watch the video, you'll see why. Now, there's two supposedly Sasquatches in this video, and a brief story about what was going on in the property was some homeowners lived in the woods close up along the tree line, and they believed that they had some Sasquatch on the property. They would hear loud noises, tree breaks, see things. So what the homeowners did is they took these big tires and chained them up as, like a plaything for these supposed creatures. And so they would try to get some audio via tape recordings whenever these things would come mess around with these tires. Well, they got some audio all right. These things would come through late at night, grunting, growling, playing with the tires, trying to basically snap the chain. But anyway, these things somehow could always avoid the cameras, and they began questioning how intelligent these creatures actually are. Well, they put up cameras outside, they put up spotlights, these things just stopped showing up, but the homeowners knew they were there. Anyway, what they decided was a new, unique approach. They decided, well, let's leave the front windows open, and instead of putting the cameras, which we think they can see, just facing out of the window, what they decided is let's put some mirrors a couple feet away from the windows and have the camera up against the wall facing the mirrors. And so that plays into why this video is also a little grainy, because you got to think about it. There's a window, a little dust cover, so they got to go through that, and they still catch some amazing content.
Oh, now, I realized that this guy was in one of the other videos, but I didn't know what was going on behind him until I got something a little higher resolution where I could see it myself. And just a few percentage of increase in resolution makes a big difference in what you see. But this guy right here is just unbelievably tall. I've stood there. I'm not anything compared to this guy. I mean, he's big. And that's what those two, he broke that up. Whatever was happening between those other two, when he walked onto the scene, they took off running. Let's go back and we'll just back him up. Let's back him up again. Back up over there, and you'll see where he steps into the scene. There he is, right there. And we're going to back him on up. Here's those two little small ones. See him coming back from around the bush? And I call them small, they're huge. But they're nothing compared to that guy. Okay, now we're going to go back into the altercation part. Here they go.
Now, real quick, I wanted to pause it right there. I know this play button is right there. Sorry about that. But pay attention to how these things move. They look like apes wrestling with each other. You have a white one and you have a black one. And one looks like, and you'll see in the video, one looks like it's an Olympic wrestler going in for the kill, honestly. And they tussle back and forth, which is impressive for two guys in a suit, right? I don't know.
These guys are not small. I mean, look at the doorway there. And they're pushing and shoving. I mean, leaning 45 degrees that black one is against that white one. And he shoves him hard and shoves him straight back out of the field of view. And then they both take off running, and here comes the big one. Look at the size of that guy.
I'm telling you, I always thought when it came to Sasquatch, like maybe undiscovered human cousin, the lost tribe of But now, the more I research into Sumerian, Babylonian, Native American, Mesoamerican history, you start to wonder if these stories of the Nephilim could be actually true. These giants living amongst men. There were giants in those days and after. I don't know. Very interesting video, but it's clear as day that the alpha was huge. And those other two that were wrestling, playing around, whatever, they got out of there quick. So, the next one, we have Todd Standing. All right, now this guy is very, his name brings up a lot of drama in the whole community. If you're actually trying to get into the subject, I would suggest looking at his stuff because it takes a fresh perspective. I think the older generation is a little set in their ways. A lot of ego, but who cares? As long as you can analyze the situation for yourself and try to find what you think either proves or disproves it for yourself. To me, very convincing evidence that he's claimed to provide. Others say, hey, that's just him in a suit. I don't know. I've heard multiple accounts of people saying they've put themselves out there with Todd or like Todd and had encounters, and it takes a brass pair to do what he does. And he claims to have had lawsuits with the states that he's gathered his evidence in. So let's check it out.
Doing research there, he's most likely not the dominant male anymore, especially when you consider old gorillas, old chimpanzees lose their power, lose their strength, lose their dominance. It's quite obvious to me that Sasquatch live in troops like gorillas and chimpanzees and human beings that successfully survived. So a dominant male, and that's another thing that I see in groups, is there is a dominant male who runs the group. A changing of the guard is a big deal because the dominant male of a group sets the tone for everything. One thing I've seen conclusively is the first thing I'll do when I go into a new Sasquatch research site is I'll find out whether the dominant male of the group will accept me being there or not. If he just accepts me interacting with, usually it's younger males and females that'll come around me, then I have success. It's golden. Like even as an example, I was in Montana for years. I believe initially in Montana, the male of the group was allowing us to interact with the younger males. That's what we were seeing, and that's what the man there was having success with. I also firmly believe a dramatic incident transpired where the dominant male of that group lost dominance. We saw all this crazy stuff. Females running around screaming, being dragged back into the troop, and the whole troop and everything that was going on, all the successes that we had stopped. And the whole research area just went to nothing. I believe the new male that took over the troop, which was quite obvious in all the signs we were seeing, said no more of this interacting with people. I don't like people, stay away from them. So personality traits matter. Opinions of the dominant male in the group matter so dramatically. You could be having total failure and having no success with a troop that's in your area. You might know Sasquatch are out there and you might be having no success, and then suddenly one year everything starts to pick up and everything starts to change. You might be dealing with the new generation, and that's going to happen every 20 years or so for sure. I mean, males aren't going to reach sexual maturity as a Sasquatch where he can dominantly take over a group. My studies show till he's at least 20 years old, more likely around 25 or so. So when they're really at their prime. So, a dominant male gets a new troop at 25. At 35, he's going to lose it. That's a decade, and things will change. And believe me, there's a new generation of Sasquatch coming up that are just inundated with all the interactions with human beings and the human beings moving in, new opinions, new thoughts, new generation, new interactions. This is all happening. These changes are going on. So, anyway, 1800s and
Now, he makes a good point because, like I just said, it takes a new perspective on things sometimes, even with our research. He said it's potential that these things have been inundated. This new generation has said, we've had so many experiences. We've seen them. We've interacted with hunters, campers, across the road. We've been seen within our generation so much more than the previous generation that stayed well hidden in the woods. Maybe their fear complex has been changed. maybe they're not as afraid, and maybe that's why we're seeing them. But also maybe because we are actually seeing them, we're becoming more receptive to the information that's actually being pushed. And again, thanks to a lot of you guys here on your pod that have subscribed and share the content, because that's what it's about. This proof has already been out there. This is just my perspective, stuff that makes me tick, and it seems like it, you know, makes a lot of you tick as well. And I like that. I appreciate it. Thanks, guys. So this one right here, the very next one, the fourth video, I like to word these videos in a way that makes you just simply think about the basics. So what kind of animals in America could produce this type of volume when they're sounding off? All right. Well, I'm just simply looking at the volume. I know there's some very large animals out there. Have you ever seen a moose? For real. Like, they're huge. So let's check it out.
Arizona, between White River and the White Mountains in an area known as Honda Apache Don. This area is famous for the Magoyan monster, Arizona's Bigfoot.
And you can hear that the people there are like, what? And that's the thing. You think those are wolves with that type of reverb? That I almost say it has a falsetto while it's sounding off, man. That's, I don't know. You be the judge, but it's interesting to me. All right. Now, we understand why they don't shoot now. This video is very interesting. An entire construction crew saw this creature snapping trees, being real aggressive while working remotely in the forest. It's known that Sasquatches may display territorial bluff charges, even territorial aggression, excuse me. They basically, when you're there and you're disrupting the environment, it seems even, they go bananas, especially if you're potentially dealing with an alpha. Maybe you're dealing with Mother Nature itself in the form of, like, it's mating season. Maybe it's in the middle of a hunt and these construction workers were disrupting the area with noise, pollution, or whatever. It's clear as day this thing didn't like their presence there. So I'm trying to figure out how a man in the suit could throw a tree like a javelin. Let's check it out.
How much does that tree weigh? Watch him launch that tree. So the question is, how big, how long, how much does that tree weigh? Watch him launch that tree. So the question is, how big, how long, how much does that tree weigh? What?
All right. You guys saw how far the tree went, though? And it was a tree. I mean, look at the white on the trees, the tree bark. I don't know. Let's say it's a river birch or something. I don't know. I have no idea what kind of tree that is, so don't kill me. But I know one thing for sure: a bear can't do that. That's not a part of the competition in the World's Strongest Man either. I don't even know if they still show it on ESPN, but I know they did back in the day. Nah, none of them dudes will throw a tree though. Big guys, not throwing trees. Sorry. Stop it. All right, so now this is a little different. Could this be evidence of skinwalkers? Now, a lot of Native American tribes refuse to actually go into the details of what skinwalkers are, but just know that every single tribe, not just the Navajo, have their own version of these medicine men that can do miraculous things. Great warriors that can shapeshift. And, you know, the underworld is real, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to take it to demonology and all that other stuff, you go right ahead. But the underworld is as simple as the seven sins being present. One of them, even. You know, one could say the strip club is even an underground, you know, an underworld place. But anyway, this video, I believe, was in Mexico, I want to say. But the camera catches something very strange. You may have to have a good eye for this one, but try to pay attention. I'll play it a couple times. Could this be dark forces traveling through the city streets? I don't know. Werewolf, vampire, I have no idea. It's something that it's not human, that's for sure. It ain't human. Let's call it what it is. All right. So back to Todd Standing. I told you that this guy took it to court, and he did. For some reason, for him to have faked his stuff, he's willing to go to court and make himself a complete idiot as it pertains to claims that he has solid proof. Now, he invites the judge, people of the court, to come on an expedition with him where he can show them for themselves the evidence that he's gathered as it pertains to his relationships with these beings. That means he's giving them physical proof. So let's check it out.
Especially when Fish and Wildlife's position is, where's the representative? He has nothing to say, no comment. And the judge wants paperwork, so he wants comments. And when I go into Fish and Wildlife and I say, what's your comment? They say, none. Leave. We don't want to talk to you. Like a prosecuting attorney in a murder case won't prosecute unless they have tremendous evidence. And this evidence that I have is far.
Look at that. Now they're saying that's Todd Standing in that suit. Yet somehow these things fit the description of what a lot of people claim to have seen for themselves. The absence of hair around the mouth, the nose, picks up around the cheekbones, sometimes goes as high as the eyes, conical shaped head. I don't know. You would have to be the judge for yourself. Sometimes the proof is too good for people to accept, and that's okay to admit. You just say, I don't know about this, but at least you're thinking about it.
Far beyond a reasonable doubt, but that means nothing. All that matters is case studies and precedents, and trying to apply something like this to case studies and precedents is so difficult, especially when Fish and Wildlife's position is, where's the representative? He has nothing to say, no comment. And the judge wants paperwork, so he wants comments. And when I go into Fish and Wildlife and I say, what's your comment? They say, none. Leave. We don't want to talk to you.
Now, I think that's because you got to really think about the fact of the matter that these things could potentially be human, or a type of humanoid in physical appearance at the very least. And if they have any type of intelligence that supersedes the common bear, the king of the woods in North America, we're talking about sentience. We're talking about a Native American. Think about it. Land rights, mineral rights, resources, protection as an indigenous people. Could that be what the national forests really are? I don't know. You got to think about it. That's the point of this page. There is proof out there, and you guys should just have the conversation about whether or not it could all be true. All right. So I want to shout out to Rocky Mountain Sasquatch Organization. They've accepted me into that community for a while now, and they have a lot of great, amazing content that is submitted by people like you. So this is a picture of a Sasquatch caught on trail cam. There's no trail cam picture. Someone would have had it by now. Yeah, we know. Except these people hold on to it. You know why? Because other people make them feel crazy for saying, this is what I saw. This is what I got on camera. But not at YEART, so. And not at RMSO, not on Facebook either. Shout out Rocky Mountain Sasquatch Organization. This one's titled, It Looks Like a Man.
It gives perspective how incredibly tall and wide this massive creature is. When you zoom in on the face, you'll notice that this doesn't necessarily have a gorilla face or nose. It looks like a mix between a gorilla and a human. Amazing footage of Bigfoot. In Habersham County, Georgia, and captured this on his game camera in 2019. Because there is a camping trailer in the frame, it gives perspective how incredibly tall and wide this massive creature is. When you zoom in on the face, you'll notice that this doesn't necessarily have a gorilla face or nose. It looks like a mix between a gorilla and a human. Amazing footage of big.
Now, I don't know if you guys paid attention to that, or maybe you were just focused on the one part where it zooms into the face. But if you pay attention to the body, notice the arms are on shoulders that are extremely wide. This thing barely has a neck. It does sort of have a conical head, but not in the placement of, say, the Todd Standing footage. So my question is, maybe there are major differences in the physical appearance of these things. Maybe these are just like humans. They have unique physical appearance based on region. Maybe there could be different types. This is where my mind starts to go with this. Not only that, it looks like there's snow on the ground, maybe. Now, maybe that's somewhere in the Midwest, the North, where there's a lot more game, a lot more oxygen in the air. You have some mountains in these type of settings, but I don't know. This thing is huge, and reports often talk about, at least from up north, the Sasquatch being extremely huge, extremely wide. This thing appeared to be as big as the trailer. So just take that into perspective, because that's a tall guy in a suit, right? Maybe. You guys be the judge. Let's play it again.
Bigfoot. In Habersham County, Georgia, and captured this on his game camera in 2019.
All right, so Habersham, Georgia. Habersham, Georgia. All right. Thick forest.
Because there is a camping trailer in the frame, it gives perspective how incredibly tall and wide this massive creature is. When you zoom in on the face, you'll notice that this doesn't necessarily have a gorilla face or nose. It looks like A mix between a gorilla and a human. Amazing footage of Bigfoot.
Amazing. At least in my perspective. At least in my perspective. Now, we're going to jump over to a very controversial video, in my opinion. People love to say skiers. I don't see it. I don't see it. After listening to so many encounters where people talk about just how fast these things are, it's ungodly fast for something so big to supposedly move as fast as they do. It's what fuels a lot of the conspiracy behind Sasquatch, and if they're interdimensional beings, if they're even physical beings at all. It seems to be that these things are capable of some physical feats that we just don't understand. Let's check it out.
This guy is now heads top.
This is Thinker Thunker, and he's breaking down a Old Faithful Geyser government cam video where these things were caught on camera tracking some bison. So let's see if they're skiers or let's see if they're Sasquatch.
Taller than somebody who's 7 foot tall. That means that we have one of the world's tallest human beings out here on this hoax, if you need to believe it's a hoax. Okay, so now I'm going to let this just run through real time, let it loop a time or two. And there's Pee-wee, the first guy we saw, the 7-footer, and he's walking on out by himself while the others stay in hiding. And watching through this time, we'll see his left foot or left leg's hurting a bit. He's hobbled a bit there. But don't you wish you could run superhuman speeds with a hurt foot or leg? Or hey, maybe while running, say, 20 or 30 miles an hour through the forest and snow, maybe he pulled a hamstring or something. Who knows? And then the whole shot ends when the camera pans off to the geyser going off. Because, folks, this is Old Faithful, the Old Faithful webcam. So the geyser going off is the money shot. You know, not everybody in the world is focused on Bigfoot like we are. Okay, so Occam's razor time. I'm not trying to be mean, but boy, you do not have the slightest.
So I would suggest checking out Thinker Thunker's YouTube page and looking at the Old Faithful Geyser video, because what you see before this clip here on YEART Pod is these same 4 individuals, skiers, Sasquatch, whatever you want to call them, on the ridge line. Moments prior, seconds prior, somehow they were able to get themselves a couple hundred yards within seconds. And it appears in the distance you can see them running through the tree line, and they move fast. So for them to be skiers, it seemed like they were even moving fast for skiers that were maneuvering through trees. It seems like there would be some more diddy bopping between the trees, if you will, you know, than just going straight through them like these things were. So I don't know. You guys be the judge. That's what the page is here for. All right. So is this a bear on 2 legs? That's all I want to know. Something so bulky. Could this be a wild pig? Wild boar that just stands up? Jet black wild boar in the trees, standing up on 2 legs and getting up out of there? I don't know. You guys check this out. But it's very convincing to me because, like most encounters, it seems that these things feel like for a moment they can't be seen. They hide behind little tree stumps, they hide behind trees and just sit there like they're sentinels or something. Like they're not gonna move until they absolutely have to keep an eye on the area. Maybe they're in the middle of a hunting, maybe that's how they hunt, is ambush style. But it appears obviously that the cameraman was focused on it and must have noticed, and it got up out of there. So let's check it out.
Too close to it, huh? How cool though. Yeah, you probably should be too close to it, huh? How cool though.
Now, I'm going to pause it right there because we're going to try to get it. We're going to play it again, basically, because remember I mentioned how the physical frame of these things, they have longer arms with wide shoulders. That's why most people confuse it with a bear, because it's so wide. So let's check that out.
I should be too close to it.
It's jet black like a bear.
Cool.
Wide back.
I should be too close to it. Cool.
Could it be a bear on two legs? I don't know. You be the judge. So, we're going to move on here to some more of the best videos on YEART Pod. We're going to check out Erwin Saunders. Very, very controversial video. The man supposedly went missing after these videos. Now, these videos he didn't post as some type of proof of some forest entity. That's just how I tend to label my things, because that's what I noticed. He was picking mushrooms. That's his character, I guess. You know, a lot of people do like to forage in the forest for mushrooms, rare varieties, rare species, all type of stuff. And he's claimed to have come into contact with some of these forest entities in the past, but that wasn't his goal in this video, at least until he got the inkling that they might be presenting themselves to him again. So you guys be the judge of this, but I personally think this is some of the best video evidence, if it's true, of possible fairies or fae, forest entities, forest people, little people, things that Native Americans, Irish natives, Scandinavian culture, all these walks of life have identified throughout their ancient history and past. Maybe these things still linger in the woods. Pay attention to this right corner.
Right. Just keep watching up behind me on that ledge. Just focus it. I think I've got the right spot. Hold on. Yeah. Oh. He was just there. Ah, you see? That was a quick glimpse there. Yeah. Okay. He's not there. Oh, sorry about that. He was doing. Oh, there he is. Okay, let's. There. Ah, well, at least we've got a shot of one. Let's keep it up there.
Very interesting video. Erwin supposedly again went missing after posting these videos. So you be the judge of that. You can look him up on YouTube, or you can visit us on TikTok at YEARTPod, YEARTPOD, to see a collection of videos like this that are convincing to myself, that I find interesting, and hopefully it piques your interest as well. So we're going to do one last one, because mostly my page is podcast stuff, topics that we cover. You guys can check that out on Podbean, and a lot of Sasquatch, forest entity, skinwalker, basically anything weird. All right, weird, cryptid, conspiracy, whatever, we're gonna post it. So one thing that sticks out to me after a lot of research, especially on the Mesoamericans, is the idea that there are naturally occurring portals on this world. Solar radiation kind of bleeds through, creating some weird electromagnetic activity on our planet. Special regions that for whatever reason just seem special, and allowed things to bleed through the dimensions, different realities. And this next video, ladies and gentlemen, looks like, to me at least, evidence of a portal. So let's check it out. This was on NVTV on YouTube. Check that page out. Give it a like and subscribe. And then it just disappears. You just don't know. I mean, forest entity, forest something, forest poor. I have no idea. But very interesting because, again, it goes back to these claims of some Sasquatch, dogmen, these werewolf creatures, these skinwalkers. Sometimes people claim to see shadow people in the woods. Could that be evidence of that? You know, people say edited, but you be the judge. And if you like the content you see there, check out NVTV. Very interesting clip. So we're going to wrap it up right there, ladies and gentlemen. This is something that, you know, I wanted to do to give back, show people, hey, this is just something that piques my interest in, and I hope that it piques yours. Let's have the conversation behind the weird, the creepy, the cryptid, the conspiracy behind whether or not there's mystery in reality or if reality is even real. I don't know. You be the judge, lady, but question everything, ladies and gentlemen. Question everything. That's it for tonight. You guys have a great night. Enjoy football. See you later.